Stephen A. yesterday was asked who's the biggest threat to the reigning champion Oklahoma City Thunder, and this is what he said.
A healthy Dallas Mavericks would be my answer to this question. I'm looking at a Dallas Mavericks squad. We talk about Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein. Well, what you gonna do against AD, Anthony Davis, with Lively, okay, with Gafford? What you gonna do when you got to deal with Kyrie, if you Shea and Jay Will and the boys, and Dort? Let's not forget Dort and Caruso. I understand how electric they are defensively. A healthy Kyrie Irving with the ball in his hands, I'd like to see that.
And the name that Stephen A. didn't mention in just that little part of the clip that we showed you, but obviously in the bigger picture does, is tonight they will add one of the most anticipated players in recent draft memory. So I turned to my Uncle Seth for that. How good is Cooper Flagg going to be, and how quickly is he going to be that good?
He's going to be next level because they're not going to ask as much of him because of the players that are surrounding him. I mean, when they get healthy, that was the key what Stephen A. said. When they get healthy, he's playing with Kyrie Irving, all-star. Anthony Davis, all-star. Klay Thompson, all-star. He's got other guys around him. So all of a sudden, the best of Cooper Flagg is his versatility. He impacts the game every single time down the floor. His ability to make plays for others, his ability to rebound the ball and initiate the fast break. You can actually run your offense through him. He can post up. He can play off the perimeter. He can short roll. His versatility is perfect for this Dallas team. So name me another overall number one pick that is surrounded by as good a talent as Cooper Flagg will be in his rookie season. So less will be asked of him. And the great thing about him, he just takes what the defense gives him. And I didn't even mention his defensive range because his 7'2" wingspan, his defensive range is ridiculous.
It's the beauty, as I've said many times, of the lottery system. Yes. The worst team doesn't get the first pick. I've loved it all along. And so a couple of ping pong balls bounced the right way, and he's on this good team. Tim Duncan, once upon a time, wound up on a team with David Robinson. Different circumstances, because Robinson had been hurt for the year. Spurs fell. They get Duncan. Next thing you know, they have a dynasty on their hands. Maybe we see something similar here.
Yeah, like Lively when he comes back and Kyrie when they come back. When they're whole with Cooper Flagg, this team is really, really going to be fun to watch.
Let's find out how much fun. Markeith, you know them as well as anybody can. When they're all healthy, and we don't know exactly when that's going to be with Kyrie, but you just heard that we know the people we're talking about here. When that group is all together and healthy, is that a championship caliber team?
Of course, that's a championship caliber team, right? You have 3 future Hall of Famers on the team, and they have a boatload of assets around those guys. They have guys that, they have a great age team. They have guys that are not quite 30, fall into that 28, 29, that prime guys, and you have guys like Kyrie, Klay, and AD, right? They have the best mixture of guys you can have to compete for a championship, and then bringing a guy like Cooper Flagg in, right? Just like Greenberg said, he don't have to do as much. He don't have to be a star right away. He can get his feet wet. He can get taught the game the right way. He had a bunch of great vets on his team, and is way better, no disrespect, than going to a team like Charlotte, where he has to be the best player right away, right? Where he has to learn from guys that are all his same age. No, he can actually take a step back and be able to learn from Hall of Famers that can show him how to play the game the right way.
I mean, there are very few dream scenarios quite like if the Lakers wind up being quite good next year, which I think they should, with Luka and whatever pieces they put around him, and the Mavericks get everybody back healthy, and next year we get the Nico Harrison Bowl, right? We get that series, the one we all wanted this year, and we didn't get there because the Mavericks all got hurt and whatever else. But that we could shape this thing up. That trade will wind up reverberating through this upcoming season.
The reason why Stephen A. picked the Mavericks is that they have an excellent record against the Thunder. If there's been any team in the league that's been able to mark up the Thunder a little bit over the last couple of years, it's been the Mavericks, and that was before they sized up by getting Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis's ability to impact them defensively is pretty significant. So definitely a team to keep going, and because Cooper Flagg is such a modern player, he's not just a great talent, he is a perfect player for this era of basketball. He will slide into what the Mavericks have effortlessly. I think he's an impact player nightly from day one.
Well, let's talk about the legacy that he steps into. The one-and-dones who make the huge impacts on the NBA level. Let's talk about the players who he follows, all right? SGA was one and done out of Kentucky in 2018. He has now come into his own, 3 consecutive first-team All-NBA selections, and of course this year, regular season MVP, finals MVP, and a champion. Who else a one and done? Jason Tatum out of Duke in 2017. He's guided Boston to the best record in the league over his 8 years. First team All-NBA last 4 years. And of course, a year ago at this time, Tatum winning a championship. In an era where the big man is not always valued, Anthony Davis was one and done out of Kentucky in 2012. He's averaged 24 and 10 for his career, 10-time All-Star. And of course, he and LeBron won a championship together in 2020. And maybe the greatest one and done in the NBA is Kevin Durant. In addition to his 2 titles and MVP, he's averaged 25 points per game in every season since he was 20. He will be 37 years old come this fall. And for a greater point on this, on the Mind the Game podcast, LeBron James, while offering high praise of Flagg, made the same point that Seth did about the situation he will find himself in.
He wants to be great. He had a hell of a year at Duke. A guy that can do so many different things on the floor, can play with the ball, can play without the ball. His jump shot is going to continue to get better, super athletic. He gets to join a team that's established with Hall of Fame guys, Klay Thompson, Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, right off the bat, Hall of Fame coach Jason Kidd. They can give him the whole blueprint while he continues to learn what his blueprint will be. So I think he's going to be amazing.
That's a similar point to the one that you were making, Seth, about what he will step into and what will and won't be asked of him immediately.
Look, you're only as good as your locker room, and he's walking into a locker room that is going to put their arms around him, and he's got a skill set that's going to complement anyone and everyone because he can be exactly what anyone needs him to be in that moment in time. He never chases a play. He reads the defense and makes the right play, offensively and defensively. His basketball IQ is off the charts. His skill level is off the charts. His passion and competitive spirit is off the charts. And he does it in a very understated way. Like if you watch Duke basketball, yeah, he took over some games. In some games, he was just a facilitator, made the right play for other people. It's because people tried to take him out of the game. So he's in a perfect situation. And look, Dallas is going to be for real. But one team no one is really talking about enough. What about Houston?
Yeah.
Because Houston, all of a sudden, KD didn't come there to just compete.
You like that addition. You like that mix.
I look at KD with that team, and I say, Shagun, KD, look, they lost Jalen Green. Terrific 82-game player. Terrific scorer. But what did that team miss? Were they playoff ready? In the playoffs, you got to have a guy that can just go get a bucket. In the playoffs, you got to have an offensive flow and a toughness. Yeah, you got to defend. I think that Houston significantly helped themselves.
Quick finishing take on this from Keefe. Who is the biggest threat? Stephen A. said it's Dallas. Who's the biggest threat to OKC in the West next year right now? Markeith.
I'm going to go with Stephen A. It's a healthy Dallas. When we see them all healthy, if they are healthy, I know they had problems with that over the past year, but it's a healthy Dallas. Like I said, they have a ton of assets. You got guys that like P.J. Washington, like Najee Harris. You got guys like that on the bench with guys with the starting 5. I mean, I don't see a better team right now outside of them if they're healthy.
If after everything that happened last year, they traded away Luka and all of the, the coffins in the streets and everything else, and all of a sudden they win the championship next year, that would be unbelievable. But Seth, my Uncle Seth, I turn to you for perspective on that and on Cooper Flagg. Does he belong on this list? Is he that level of good? What are the right things to say about him this morning?
Without a doubt, he belongs on that list, and probably maybe at the top of that list.
Okay.
Most versatile incoming freshman in the country, obviously, for Duke. But I'm going to give you a statement here, Greedy.
Go.
All right? Cooper Flagg had more pressure on him last year as a 17-year-old freshman as the face of Duke basketball than he's going to have on him as the overall #1 pick to the Dallas Mavericks.
Very interesting thought. Expand on that. Why do you say so?
Well, because when you go to Duke and you are Cooper Flagg, #1 high school player, reclassified and become the face of the brotherhood, Duke basketball, with the expectation to go to a Final Four. That type of pressure. He's going to a Dallas Mavericks team that he has a support system around him. Right? His versatility will be utilized. But he's going to be playing with Klay Thompson, one of the best shooters in the history of the game. Anthony Davis, who you just put on that list,
yes,
which is a very, very special player. Klay Thompson, Kyrie Irving, Kyrie Irving eventually. Derek Lively, they just signed Gafford, P.J. Washington. So basically, Cooper Flagg is going to be able to utilize his unique skill set. He's the most versatile player, to me, in college basketball in the last 20 years. He can impact the game every single time down the floor without even trying.
The pressure on him is an interesting point because he was not traded for Luka Doncic. Do you know what I mean? Like the way it all plays out, it's almost like the Mavericks traded away Luka Doncic for Cooper Flagg. But that actually, those two things had nothing whatsoever to do with each other, except that maybe they wouldn't have been where they were if they had kept Luka. But that's neither here nor there. The point is, he doesn't have, even though my only question about what Seth is saying is, does the fan base feel like Cooper Flagg is what we got by trading away Luka and now have that level of expectation?
They don't. And if they do, that's a flawed thinking.
Right.
And so the pressure, I think, is on Nico Harrison to deliver a team that is competitive very soon, because Nico Harrison made the statement when he made the trade, we are trying to win a championship in the next couple of years. It is virtually unheard of that a team with the number one pick has any sort of short-term championship aspirations. Typically, this is the beginning of a rebuild when you acquire a player like this. So I would agree that he doesn't have the expectations to come in and dominate the way he did at Duke with gigantic NIL and all of those things. But his team is going to be playing meaningful games much faster, probably, than most number one picks in history.
That's very interesting. Markeith, take me into that dynamic. Usually, the number one overall pick goes to a very bad team, not generally one that has a lot of leadership and veterans and all that sort of thing, and everything is built around him immediately. What will the dynamic be for Cooper Flagg in Dallas, where clearly the opposite is the case?
It would be a great dynamic, right? He gets to step into a team that's basically already built to win a championship with 3 Hall of Famers and a bunch of high-level role players, right? The best thing about Cooper Flagg is he gets to use his intangibles early on in his career. The ownership doesn't have to be put on him to score the basketball and to produce at the highest level. He just has to fit in. He has to play hard, play defense. Kind of reminds me of a young Paul George when he stepped into Indiana. That's the type of role he's going to have. And look, to be able to be the number one pick and walk in and to be able to play on that high level and almost, compete for a championship is something we've never seen.
Give me a quick comp on that. Like for those, most people have seen Cooper Flagg play, obviously. But if there was a comp, he just mentioned Paul George.
I think Scottie Pippen.
Young
like
Paul
George.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I like that.
Paul George, Scottie Pippen, a little bit of Grant Hill in him, but Scottie Pippen, he could be a play starter, he could be a playmaker. All right. He has the ability to make shots. He's got defensive range.
He's taller than Scottie, though, right? I mean,
6'9".
Yeah.
His feel for the game, his competitive spirit, his understanding of taking what the defense gives him, impacting the game defensively with his length. Like I call it defensive range because of his length. His 7-foot wingspan. To me, it's absolutely, he impacts the game on both ends. The guy is so versatile, but he never chases it. He takes everything the game gives him. He takes over games without having to take over games. He takes over games sometimes by being a play starter, sometimes by being a playmaker, sometimes by being scoring, sometimes by getting post-ups or getting a defensive rebound and initiating a fast break. That's who he is.
All right, you guys stay close. I'm more
How's it going, everybody? Villa Sports Network here. Just want to thank you guys for your support on the channel. Thank you guys for watching the video. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Also want to kind of remind you to don't forget to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment on the video if you like as well. But regardless of the fact, thank you again for your support, and hope to see you on the next video.